So some interesting results down here at the bottom of the battlefield, actually the northernmost conflict. These skirmishers have overtaken these medium horse. They actually did inflict a casualty here. It was an amazingly low roll I needed, 4 or under on D20, but they did do that. And that brings these guys down to 50%, which is going to require a reaction test roll. And since they're at half, I think the reaction test is now just 1 dice that they get. Let me double check that. Reaction test. Unit is below half strength, 1d6. Unit is below 2/3. So it's not below half strength, so it's going to be 2d6. It's only 2d6 to do this. And they only got a 6. Let's see if there are any factors. Hit on unshielded flank. Well, they were hitting the rear, so I'm going to say -1 off of that. Takes them down to 5. Those are troop grade B, I believe. Doesn't matter. Troop grade B, and those orders that they had originally are kind of kaput at this point. So let's see, 5. 5 grade B, 0 to 4, 5 to 8. Halt, 2 turns. Back up over here. These javelineers, as they moved up, they shot. They actually inflicted a casualty. The Irish Kerns tried to strike and did nothing. This noble doesn't really add much to it. I'm leaving the 2 blue dice out to remember I've got post-melee results to do. So the heavy horse here versus the longbowman behind the stakes. The stakes are only going to last 1 turn. That would be this turn. The results ended up being no casualties on either side. I think that'll end up being a repulse, but we'll see later. But I will remove the stakes now. So I'm not looking at the wrapping around rules yet, but this heavy horse hitting in the side here did inflict 1 casualty, and then going back the other way, no casualties. I think at this point I need to look at the post melee. So this was mounted versus unmounted. So and those guys definitely didn't break. So these guys must retire 10 more inches in good order to this melee. Those guys suffered a missile casualty, but no casualties in the melee. So did not take more casualties, so they didn't break. So these guys have to retire. Put it on 10, so I know what I'm doing here. So that's that result. So I did that. Now we've got over here with the bowmen. So again, this is horsies versus non-horsies. The horses did not inflict any casualties, so the light troops didn't break, and therefore the mounted troops are repulsed. I use this 20-sider, which is actually a D10 and D10. So we'll just put that over here. And again, these guys have to turn around. They're not facing the correct direction, but that gets handled on the next turn. Retirement gets handled on the next turn. And they will get blows as they turn about, whereas these guys are already turned around and those guys are already turned around, so that doesn't matter. Yeah, and then down here, horse versus horse. So this is fighting did not include footmen, and one side had twice the casualties of the other. So I think in this case, the medium horse took casualties, which is greater than 0, right? The casualties inflicted by melee were in excess of 5%, yes, because they lost those troops. The unit's going to break. These guys are broken. They're going to have to actually try to wheel themselves out of here. And they are disordered. Okay, so we know what's going on with these guys, kind of, sort of. Now we've got 3 more melees to take care of up here. Actually, we're going to treat it like one big melee. We'll make it easy on ourselves. So wild result here. The horsemen inflicted a casualty. They got enough factors to add up to 32 casualties, and I rolled a dice and didn't get a second casualty. But then going back the other way, the factors are pretty low for the heavy footmen, but yet I rolled the D20 and inflicted a casualty. So, and because I treated this whole line of heavy horse the same way, let's see what happens. So non-mounted troops fought exclusively. Non-mounted troops took more casualties. That's not true. So the non-mounted troops are not going to break. That means that the mounted troops must retire in the 10-inch thing. So, yeah. these guys are bouncing off. So for orders during turn 5, we're just going to let this play out the way it has been, and yeah, let's see what happens here. This should be interesting. Okay, things are a bit of a mess, but on the bright side, the rules on interpenetration are fairly simple. So as these guys turn, they will receive blows in the rear, but passing through this set of heavy crossbowmen, not a problem. What will happen is that these two stands are going to be disordered, and these two stands of heavy horse are going to be disordered as they pass through. But otherwise, no ill effect here. Disordered troops can carry out any current order subject to the same reaction test conditions that always apply. Disordered troops, however, will not respond to messengers or visual signals. So they cannot halt if executing an order unless the noble commander attaches himself to the unit. They can restore order if they halt for one turn or are not attacked while halted. If attacked while reorganizing, stand fast. So, interesting. Those guys had orders for general order to advance. So they'll be disordered, those heavy crossbowmen will. But they will continue the advance, and then they'll get in contact with those heavy footmen on the Yorkist side, and we'll see what happens. Interesting. So when those heavy horse turned about, man, it's pretty bad. So it ended up being factors of 8 and figures of 10. So it's going to be 50 casualties. So I'm going to remove 2 figures, and I rolled the dice, not a third figure, but two heavy horsemen lost. I'll take 1 off each stand. So pretty jumbled battlefield, but we've got all the movement conducted. It's going to be quite a bit of a mess down here to resolve. But this massive melee with heavy footmen versus heavy footmen should be interesting to do. So I think I'm going to have to roll a reaction test here. So left stand. These are regular troops too, so that's going to be you just know we're talking about these 3 units right here. So leftmost stand. Middle stand, regular units. So this 1 becomes a 3. And then the last one is over here. 6, 6. So these get reduced to 4s. So 4 and 4 and 3. So we're talking about 8, 10, 11, 7, 10, 7, 8, 9. Look at that. 9, 10, 11. I think they're all going to be in the same range, though. And there are some reaction test modifiers here. Disordered, -1. So -1 across the board. Noble attached to the unit, not right now. Army commander within 15 inches, yes, he just passed through. So that kind of washes out the disorder. Uphill, downhill doesn't apply. Flank or rear, no melee. Flank support, +1 per flank. Support from the rear, not going to, well, will apply over there too. Interesting, okay. So let's get the flank support, no missileers. Let me get those numbers adjusted. So this guy has flank support on his right and rear support. So 4 over here. This unit is supported on both flanks. Doesn't have rear support because those guys are going the wrong way. But he does have 2 more for rear support, or for flank support. This guy only has flank support on one side, so he goes up to 4. So this is a 12, this is a 12, and this is an 8, 9, 10, 11, and 11. So 12, 12, and 11 for grade C. And those guys did have orders. So with orders, grade C, 12, 12, and 11 all falls in the same column. Persevere if already engaged in combat, otherwise continue with active order. They're good. I do have some reaction tests down here. So there was no reaction test for the horse coming into contact with these guys, so that's fine that we didn't do that. Heavy horse versus heavy horse. So this one will need a reaction test. Heavy horse versus medium, that's disordered and flanked and kind of, he's wheeled around now and is going backwards. This doesn't matter because he's punching down, so no reaction test necessary. And then medium versus medium. So this guy coming into contact, but he's coming in on the flank, so that doesn't apply because zone of control is what matters. And I'm going to basically say that that guy's flanking him. So yeah, this guy coming into frontal contact with him will require a reaction test. Actually, both of them need to react to each other. It's basically the same. They're both considered grade B. Doesn't look like flank support for this guy maybe bumps him up. No flank support for that guy, but he does have rear support. So that would bump him up. So both of these are at 11. Army Commander over here, so this guy's at 12. So let's bump this up. So this goes up to 4. This guy gets up to 4. I'm starting to get the hang of all the factors that apply. I would like to trim these down though. Yeah, grade B, both operating with some kind of orders, 9, 10, 11. 9 to 12, persevere. So the Lancastrians are persevering, and this one is a 12. 9 to 12, persevere. So again, coming to grips with the enemy, both sides pass their reaction test. Not a problem. So it does look like I forgot to move one unit. That unit had to turnabout. This heavy horse was repulsed. They have suffered another casualty when they turned about. I went ahead and make their rally roll. They still have to move 6 more inches on the next turn. Same thing over here. These guys have to move 6 more inches. I already made their rally roll. They rolled a 1. So they're going to be good, but they got to get into the forest. So actually this retirement's not going to complete until turn 7, looks like, which it's going to suck for them. So that takes those guys out of action for quite a bit. Pretty easy here. So these guys attacked those guys in the rear, inflicted another casualty on the medium horse. The medium horse is still halted. The medium horse did not break the infantry, therefore they're repulsed. Put down a dice, put it on 10. Over here, these guys had a dice, so they're attacked in the rear by these light infantry. Light infantry inflicted no casualties. However, the light infantry didn't break, therefore these guys are repulsed. The counter was down to 2, but I bumped it back up to 10 for that guy.